So now that we know the basics about logging in and looking at our home screen and creating some folders, we're going to take a look at creating a new document. So I'm going to go ahead and from my home screen, click on the new document icon. Again, that's the one that looks like the piece of paper with the plus sign. And the new menu that pops up is full of different kinds of templates. I want you guys to notice that the default that LucidChart gives you is a blank flowchart. So you're in the flowchart area of templates, and you can tell that the blank flowchart is selected because it's highlighted in blue. We're going to take just a moment and show you some of the other templates that are available specifically within education, although there's certainly a lot of other good ones available in the other template menus as well. So I would recommend spending some time looking through there. So we can see that there's a bunch of different templates already included for education. This would be a really easy thing to use with students on iPads because they could just choose something that's already there. So for example, let's take a look. Let's see. We'll go ahead and kind of browse through, and we're going to choose, let's choose the research paper outline. So I'm going to click on that, highlight it in blue, and then in order to create the research paper LucidChart, I need to click on the create or touch the create button on the top right hand corner. So you can see it working. I do have the option to cancel it if I want to do that. And now we have our template. In order to rename this, up here at the very top we see the research papers title. If I wanted to give it a more specific name, I can click in that area, just touch the title, and it's going to open up an editor. So now I can call this, just to say, ELA 1 for English Language Arts, Paper 1, to keep things very simple. So that's how I can retitle my template. And then in order to do some very basic editing, the next video will include some more detailed editing options. I'm just going to show you very quickly how I could change the text that is in the box. So I'm just simply going to tap 2 times on the square that says research paper topic. And that is going to bring up my text editor. So you can see that's where I would go ahead and then use my keyboard on my iPad to change the name. So very easy to use the templates. Wanted to show you guys how that works. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home screen, and you're going to notice that my ELA 1, my template document that I used, is now sitting in my documents area. If I wanted to move it into the English Language Arts folder, I simply push and hold it until it's selected in blue, and then use that move icon and open up my My Documents folder to see the English Language Arts area and click Move. Okay, so next I'd like to show you how you can use the different shapes included in LucidChart on a blank flowchart. So we're going to go ahead and make another new document. One other option as I create this one, I did want to show you too, if you would rather just save this document to a specific folder right away, note down here on the very bottom, there's an option that says Save to My Documents. If I click on that, I can choose a specific folder from the beginning. So let's say we'll put this one in Spanish 1. And click Done, and that way it will automatically save to that folder when it's created. So just another different way that you can save to a folder within LucidChart. I'm going to go ahead and choose the blank flowchart. Again, that's the default, and choose Create. So we can see I now have my blank flowchart. Again, I can retitle it by touching the title Blank Flowchart and calling it whatever is an appropriate title. In this case, we're going to call it Demo. And then touching OK. So we can see the title has changed now. The main rest of this video, we will show you guys a lot about the editor in the next brief video, but we wanted to talk mainly about the Shapes menu that you see over on the right hand side of the iPad screen. Now if for some reason that Shapes menu doesn't pop up, that means it's been closed out, and the way that you get it to open and close is by touching the little icon next to the pencil in the top right hand corner that looks like a bunch of different shapes kind of all grouped together. So if we touch that, we can see that it'll disappear, and then to get it to open again, we're going to touch it one more time. So within the Shapes menu, you have a number of different opportunities and options to use on your blank flowchart. Under the flowchart menu, these are kind of the most commonly used shapes, and in order to put one on our canvas, all we do is touch and hold and drag it. Okay, I wanted to show you briefly a couple of options that you can do to resize shapes if you want them bigger or smaller. In order to be able to see that shape a little bit better, I'm going to zoom in on the canvas, and to do that I'm going to use 2 of my fingers to zoom, and then I'm going to use one finger to move the canvas over a little bit so I can see a little bit better. So again, 2 fingers to zoom, and then 1 finger to move the canvas down. So I can see right now that the word inside the box says process. If I want that box to say something else, I simply tap it tap it twice, and that will bring up the text editor. So a double tap to bring up the text editor, and you can change this to any word that you'd like. So I'm just going to type in some letters there. The other options that you have within any shape is you see the handles around the outside, the squares that are on each corner, those are resizing handles. And so I can use those to make the shape bigger or smaller, to stretch it out, right? So those are my resizing handles. And then the little circles around each edge are opportunities that you can use lines to connect 2 shapes together. So just to show you how that works quickly, I'm going to pull another square out and off-center it a little bit. And so I'm going to highlight that first square originally by touching it, and then I'm going to use my finger to touch that circle on the bottom and drag a line down to where my next box is. So that's a very quick and easy way that you can create those graphic organizers with the arrows. The container menu, it's worth mentioning here, this is kind of a special menu in comparison to the other two. A container's job is to hold other shapes. So for example, if I pull this swim lane out onto my canvas, and then I put let's go back to our flow chart, and put a decision shape in my swim lane, you'll see when I move my swim lane around that the decision moves with it. So containers are exactly what they sound like. They are shapes that hold other shapes. So it's a really nice way to group things together if you're looking to do that. Underneath the shapes menu are some non-traditional type shapes. So you have, your triangles, your squares, your diamonds up in your flow chart. These are ones that are a little bit more uncommon. So we have our stars, our double arrows. All of those things are listed in the shapes box. And then lastly, oops, I didn't mean to do that. If you accidentally put something on your canvas that you didn't mean to put there, when it's highlighted in blue, you can use the delete icon up at the top, the trash can with the X, to remove it from your flow chart. So I'm glad that happened. It allowed me to show you guys how to delete. The very last menu, your standard one, this includes a couple of nice extras. One of those is a text box. So if you'd like to be able to type just text without a shape around it, you can touch and drag that T out, and it'll give you an area to type text. So again, anytime you want to edit text, it's a double tap. And so now we can say, instead of text, empty text box. So when we click off of it, you can see that that text looks like it's just floating. So that's kind of a really neat option. A block is used to cover up other things. Basically, it's a solid shape that doesn't have any opacity to it. So that can be interesting. I would imagine that if you have a smart board in your room or any of those other kind of devices, that you could use this block in combination to create some interesting activities. Some interactive activities, either using your interactive whiteboard or your iPads would work just as well in a classroom. So the last two options, the note, is just like what it sounds like. It's a sticky note, and so if you're working collaboratively or even if you're making notes to yourself on one of your own flow charts, it just gives you a nice place to put some text, like you would stick a sticky note on a piece of paper. So we really like the sticky note option. And then the hotspot one is used mainly for linking things together. We're not going to talk in a lot of depth about the hotspot because it's a little bit more of a advanced option. But if you're interested, there are a lot of resources available online for you to check that out. So the hotspot is one we won't spend too much time on today just because it's a little bit more advanced. But certainly the text, the block, and the note are all great tools that you can use within your documents, within your LucidCharts.